Oh boy, it's Friday. You know how we do it here. We take it nice and slow. But we have to get into the issues also. And on the BNFT, Akufo-Addo satisfied with work on OT, Air Cup, 80% of the work completed. Crate of eggs to hit 30 Ghana cedis by the end of the year as woes of poultry sector deepens. GMPC has expertise to acquire stake in Ake AGM block, according to the Energy Minister, and the trained nurses and midwives on the rise. Ghana Registered Nursing, Midwife and Nursing Association intensify calls to scrap certificate nursing. They're calling for degree nurses to be in abundance. The Business 24, cargo movers deplore unfair treatment by foreign agents. SOE's revenue on upward trend. Metro Mass needs expanded fleet to operate optimally, and year job fair attracts thousands. Also, the Chronicle. Stop paying tithe to armed robbers. Apostle Amam. Who are the armed robbers? Leadership is not about election. Dufour. Animal rights petition, group petitions government. Ban cruel killing and eating of Joseph. And I hear that dogs too as well, but we also understand that there was an initiative or a thought to set up a dog factory. 10 million Ghana cedis yam and cassava processing factory for OT upon Nkrumah swears in the new Ghana Publishing Company Limited board. It was yesterday. The Daily Guide, planting for food, jobs, my idea, says John Mahama on a thank you tour. Nana opens 10 million Ghana cedis yam cassava factory in OT. And also, Ras Mubarak, ex-wife fight over kids' school fix. I heard 63,000. A PhD crier saying, President satisfied with ARCOP progress there. The Finder newspaper. Upon Nkrumah charges Ghana Publishing Board to consolidate gains. Encroachment of GBC lands alarming, according to its union. Akufo-Addo expresses satisfaction in OT region. 1D, 1F phase one of some 10 million Ghana cedis factory opens, and do or die comment positions Mahama as a man of violence, says Nana B. The new crusading guide, Ni Amo Noya, remains distilled as chief of Ni Boy Man, Asre Kingmaker. More jobs as Akufo-Addo commissions 10 million yam cassava processing factory. Work on ARCOP progresses. President is satisfied so much there. School feeding secretariat needs overhauling, according to the PRO. It should be fuming. The Herald newspaper. Joy FM's Evans Mensah and Copex Dankanamwa tango over GMPC Ake Energy money. Chief Justice hides lawsuit on $5 million bribery case. Asiedu Nketia compares Guinea's cool conditions to Ghana. An energy ministry dismissive about Lukoil's grave concerns over Ake Energy, GMPC, the $1.65 billion transaction. The Informer, government tough on contractors, gives them 2-week ultimatum to resume work on abandoned projects. To 4 votes for peace and commentary in what capacity is JM saying NDC will shed blood in 2024. That's a commentary there. Politics should not be do or die affair. Banner headline. Warmongering comments. Mills condemns Mahama. Your agenda will not see light of day. GMPC, Ake Energy Agreement, Ministry dispel Lukoil's fear. The Republic Press. NDC bigwig split over Mahama's do or die rant. In Koko, COVID morgue full. Ras and Rush Mubarak in divorce war over 63K school fees. And finally, the Ghanaian Times and the 1D1F initiative, major boost for cassava yam processing as president inaugurates 10 million Ghana cedis factory in Adonkwanta. US Embassy inaugurates oxygen plant at GIDC, and President Lord's work on the ARCOP project in the OT region this morning. A quick one. A happy birthday to the beautiful and intelligent Na Lamle Lawson. Na Lamle of the Ghana Institute of Journalism. I beg your pardon. So Na Lamle of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you, and wish you long life and prosperity, and may you stay true to your God-given call on this earth. Also to Tovike Mercedes Klenam from Adidome. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you, and we wish you long life and prosperity. Also, Dr. Kofi Kodia Sapong. It's a birthday to you. You're the CEO of the year 2020 for Corporate Ghana, and this from the GMPC Senior Staff Association to you. Eric Kwejo Asari sent this one in for you. Happy birthday to you, Doc. You're a CEO, and I wish you all the best in your life. Awal Mohammed is the head of PR and Youth Employment Agency. He's a member of the NPP's communication team as well. Awal, welcome. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
And also, lawyer Godwin Eduji Tamaklo is a member of the NDC's legal and communications team. Counsel, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers.
Great, great, great. Let's begin from the prison's conditions. And yesterday, Bella and I had occasion, and with Daniel Oklu as well, had occasion to go to the Swan prisons. We spent a little time on this one. Their conditions are deplorable, I must say, and which gave us reason to commend the officers and the men and women who are in charge of reformation of those we think need reformation. You are a lawyer, so you interact a lot with them. Can we reform human beings with 1 cedi 80 pesos per day?
So, once again, well, like you've indicated, because of my work as a lawyer, I'm quite familiar with the prison situation. And as I was listening to you recall your experiences, I'm sure maybe your dad worked at the prisons also.
Right.
I have lived also at the prisons quarters in Pando. So I could appreciate what the prisoners in the 90s. Now, fast forward, I now go to Nsawan prison as a law student. Subsequently, as a lawyer, you have to go and visit some clients there. And if you look at the prison's condition, it's terrible. The whole notion of the prison serving as one, punishment, deterrence, and reformation sometimes appears to be defeated. Because if the intention is to reform an individual and the conditions associated with that reformative process is terrible, then it defeats the overall agenda of reforming the said prisoner. So it's a very terrible situation. Like it's been suggested, how in God's name are you going to feed a Ghanaian today in this broken down economy with 1.8 Ghana cedi? It is just not possible, because even today, a ball of kinky, this one, the Malamata one, the one Balmia used to reference, if you go there now, you'll get it 2 cedis, you'll get some, even in Osu, some 3 cedis. In fact, there's some corner.
The Osu night market corner.
You'll get 3 kinky. And so to do 1 cedi for the whole day, not breakfast, not, is terrible. And that again brings the issue of the non-custodian sentence. Because some of the offenses do not require that a person should go to prison. That becomes additional burden on the taxpayer. We can keep people in their houses, allow them to sweep the streets, or go and be entertaining kids in some of our schools. I mean, you have a teacher, he's wronged. So instead of taking him to prison, say he should go and teach. I mean, we can be innovative about prison situation. And as for the sleeping condition, like you pointed out, I mean, to see fellow human beings sleep in, like people packed, is terrible. There's no better. And in fact, it had been suggested that if you want to see how progressive a society is, see how it treats its prisoners. I'll leave it here.
I hear you. Oh, wow. Step in for me. 1 cedi 80 pesos. Can we do something about it?
Thank you so much. Good morning to our viewers, and thank you for the opportunity. I think, yes, 1 cedi 80 pesos may not be enough, looking at the conditions today and the amount of money that the person will feed on from morning, afternoon, evening. So even if it is even one meal, you say 1 CD 80 pesos shouldn't even be enough. But when you center everything to Accra, when you say Malamata, it means you know that the cost to feed someone in Accra is higher than the cost to feed someone in Yeji, the prisons at Yeji.
Right.
So definitely, I know it is inadequate. I remember some few months ago, the prisons officers came out, the PRO came out to say 1 CD 80 pesos is not enough. And I'm told that the Interior Minister has responded and said there is something that will be done so that it will be increased.
But that was a long time ago.
Yes, but you see, it's early this year. I remember the call was early this year,
Right.
and they said they will do something about it. You see, I'm glad that yesterday you went there. I chanced on a report that says that maybe a lawyer will help, that 70% of those in our prisons today are between the ages of 18 and 35.
Right.
And that is very, very worrying. Because if you have about 70% of the people in prison between the ages of 18 and 35, it means the country will not be progressing. He said, if you want to know how progressive a country is, then you look at its prisons. And if really we have this number of people there, there is the chances that they will reoffend again. And even the report says that a lot of them will go, they will come back, and they will reoffend and go back again.
Because they don't feel loved in society.
Exactly.
The reintegration process.
And again, custodial sentences. There are people who do peanuts. When you check Crime Check Ghana, done by Ibrahim Oponkwate, a journalist. When you check and you see offenses that people go to jail with. I remember I saw a pregnant woman went to jail because she stole a bucket of an olonka of maize just to feed her 2-year-old daughter. You understand? So, as lawyer has said, this is something that has been talked about over time. But I think the lawyers can take the initiative, and you journalists, to see that let's reform our custodial sentencing and see who is supposed to go to the custody. You see, someone will steal an egg, and you will go and meet someone who has stolen, who has done burglary or has even done armed robbery. The person will train him. He said, you, what did you, because they ask themselves, what did you come here for? I'll tell you that, oh, I stole this thing. They even slap him, I'm told, and tell him that next time you should have done 1, 2, 3, 4. So he will train him. And after training him, he will come out and he will be a hardened criminal, more than what he even went in for. So I believe that the amount is inadequate. Let's all join to call government to increase it, especially the Interior Minister, because they are in charge, so that they will increase it for them.
The Vice President is the chairman of the Prisons Council.
Yes, but there is something that can be done. I know that a lot of prisons have farms that they cultivate. For instance, when you go to Yeji and other areas. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of people are advocating, myself inclusive, that if you look at where the Kumasi prisons is, it should not even be there. It's in the heart of Kumasi. When you go to Kumasi around the Doom, that is where the prison is. So
Kumasi's prison is at the time, because
not that,
if you look at Kumasi's prison, it is the proper definition of fast track.
Exactly.
Because the prisons, the police headquarters there, and then the courts, they're like a triangle.
Yeah, we can only use that place.
You can take 7 minutes to go to court and come back and go to prison.
Less than that, even walking, you can even walk away. But I'm saying that place can be reserved for remand prisoners.
Right.
Because their case is not done already. You move those who will serve outside, so that they will go there and be working so that they can feed themselves. When you go to some prisons, you see that indeed they cultivate.
That's
so
right.
if they cultivate, the 1 CD 80 pesos should supplement what they do there, so that they are able to feed well over there.
But in a country where you have...
currently,
they do it.
I do know that,
they do it.
For instance, if you go to Pando, the Pando prison, whereas the prisons is somewhere around where we call Tuji, they have a prison farm on the way to Befi.
Okay.
And so they do a lot of maize farming, other, crops.
Yeah.
They use part of it to feed them, which therefore, makes certain things available to them.
Yeah.
Because you see, like we are all having this conversation, if government is doing 1.8 and maize prices are going up, it does not affect the amount that government, the allocation. It's still the same allocation.
That's true.
So what it means is that ultimately, the quantity of food that will even be given to the prisoners would have to be slashed. So it's quite problematic.
I have an inside view because my dad was in charge of industries, project and development. So some of the farms and carpentry, masonry, and all of those ones were directly under him. So I can appreciate it. But again, then it comes back to the fact that, and this is my final question to you, the fact that as a country, we depend on rain-based agriculture. So have we, for example, provided them with dams so that they can do irrigation and then have all year through supply of food, even if they want to intensify their agricultural exploits?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've been saying over the years is that we do rainfall agriculture. And it's even problematic when you go to the northern regions. You know, their farming season is only once. If you go to the Ashanti region, even if it is rainfall agriculture, you get 2 seasons, especially the maize season. You have the lean season and the major season. So that was the thinking that went through the one village, one dam. Because the president felt that when you go to the north, a lot of our brothers come down south when they are not farming. So when it is farming season, they move back, go and farm and come back. But because it's only one season, so when you have the dams, one village, one dam over there, they will be able to cultivate year-round over there. So in Ashanti region, if you have a better place, even rainfall agriculture is enough. Because I have been a farmer before. When you go to a farm place, Drobonsu area, I have a farm there, and I was cultivating maize. I do twice. And the pattern doesn't affect me, even though sometimes the shortfall of rainfall and so on. But it doesn't affect very well. So that's why the concept of one village, one dam came, so that we're able to have people to do year-round farming, especially at the north, because that's our food basket. Okay. They have the arable land where you can plant a lot. So the one village, one dam is there to help in these things. But if we check and feel that there are areas that the prisoners will need irrigation facilities, I think it's something that we'll have to talk about it. You going to Nsawam, I think next time you may even go to the Pando that he's talking about, or Yeji or other places, so that you know the conditions over there too. Then you tell the people of this country, and I'm sure it will shape up the conversation.
Well, there will be a fuller conversation when we go there to record again, and Belamundi will bring you that conversation from the Nsawam prisons and some other facilities. Earlier you saw Miriam Osajiman's report from the Bostal here in Accra. So we're keeping a keen eye on it. Our immediate appeal, beyond all the other needs that they have in the prisons, for example, what we saw in Nsawam, is that 1 CD 80 pesos to feed and try to reform a fully grown man, and also try to teach them to acquire a degree, a diploma, MVTI, whatever it is at the prisons, is woefully inadequate. We've been talking about it for donkey years. We have done absolutely nothing about it. So this morning, I want to send a love note to Mr. President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning, Vice President Dr. Bawumia. You're the chairman of the Prisons Council. This falls directly on your lap. Good morning to you. A special morning to you, Mr. Ambrose Derry. You are a lawyer. I'm sure, like counsel here, you also had opportunity to go through the prisons, and subsequently as a lawyer in private practice, you had opportunity to visit your clients there. I must say nothing has changed. So now that you're Interior Minister, let's feel something, let it change. And a special congratulations to all the men and officers, the high command and the top brass of the prison service. I say you are magicians. For what you do with the little that you have, I salute you. Anyway, so hundreds turn up for job fair. Wow. Yes. Why was it necessary for you to do a job fair? People asking for jobs, are you giving them jobs, or were you just showing them how to create jobs, or were you pointing them to the fact that in future the jobs will come?
Yeah, I think if you look at the Youth Employment Agency, its set up in 2006 was an ad hoc program that will engage the youth. It was as a result of a report by Francis Poku, then the a Minister for National Security when he had a report that indeed national unemployment is becoming a national security threat. So the Kufuor administration set up the Youth Employment Agency. It has gone through to at least provide short-term employment for the youth. It went through a lot of changes from NYEP to JIDA, then now the Youth Employment Agency, with a proper legislative instrument and an act of parliament. But if you look at the work that we're supposed to do per the act is saying that we do the development, coordination, and facilitation of employment opportunities for the youth of this country. Over the years, we've been doing the development of models. We will develop the Kufuor-ness, that is the Zoom-ness, the Kufuor police, and other models. But we do 2 years. After 2 years, the person will move on so that different people will come. And that is what the Act has mandated us to do. Okay. But that is the development of models. So we saw that with the facilitation aspect of it, has not been really looked at over the years. So this new management felt that let's just look at the needs of the country. For instance, you'll be at Youth Employment Office and you have private sector entering into your office and they'll ask you, we need some youth to employ. And we do not have that database. So that was the reason why we tried as much as possible to start the job center. Because those who have lived abroad, if he's coming to invest in Ghana, the best place to go and look for youth to engage them will be the Youth Employment Agency. Okay. So when they come and they ask us, we decided to coordinate everything, start something that we call the Job Center. We launched it in 2019 so that the youth can just go online and register so that we know that these are the number of youth who are available for these kinds of employment opportunities. We did all these things, but COVID came in and it scattered everything. So we started again. We have about 150 companies, private companies, telling us that they will need such hands and these hands. So we decided to call them, come for a job fair, so that the people, the employers will be able to assess the number of people they want. And that was the reason we had to do the job and career fair.
Did they have to pay for the job fair?
No.
So did they have to pay to attend the job fair?
No, no. Okay. So what the problem we're solving is that we saw that here in this country, when you see this advertising, people advertising that they want to give job opportunities to people, they pay before they even go for interviews and so on. After that, there are certain, I don't want to mention names, but there are certain companies that what they do is that they will even charge you. They will bring you to maybe Media General. Every month, there is some 10% that goes to the person who brought you in, the agency that brought you in. So we saw that we are into social profit because that's why we were set up. So we felt that let's have it and do it for free for everyone. Okay. So they don't pay to be part. Even employers don't pay to be part of the job fair. What we do is that we only avail them with the opportunities. Even if you ask us to recruit for you, we've done recruitment for about 1,000 Ghanaian youth over the past 1 year that we have sent them to private agencies, and we do everything, including the interviews and everything, for free, so that the person will be able to get employment opportunities. Again, you see, private sector employers, sometimes they even exploit the youth. They don't even give them up to the minimum wage rate. So we do all these things to check whether the person is really being paid well. So that is why we had to call them, come in, the job seekers should come in, then the employers will also come, so that we put them together. Then they will tell them what they need, especially in terms of CV and so on. So it is not only job fair, it's also a career fair. It's jobs and career fair.
The theme for the career and job fair says bridging job gap in partnership with the private sector. So you're entirely looking at the private sector providing jobs for these young people. Is that so? Yes,
because we have our traditional models where we partner with public sector. Because we have 15,000 Ghanaian youth with the police service. When you go to the traffic, you see some people wearing black T-shirt, directing traffic and so on. So these are the community police that we have, 15,000. We do a collaboration with them. But now we're doing a collaboration with the private sector so that they will tell us their needs. If really we have to even train them on soft skills they need to go and work in the private sector, we'll still train them and send them so that at least we'll facilitate for them to get employment opportunities.
How much is 1 year beneficiary paid?
1 year beneficiary.
1 year, if I'm a year
One
beneficiary.
year beneficiary.
How much do I earn at the end of the month?
Yes, it depends on the model.
Okay, so
yes. The highest is 350 cedis.
The highest is 350 cedis. What is the lowest?
The lowest is 180.
But you were complaining that private sector is not sometimes exploit the people with the minimum wage. If you calculate the minimum wage, that's not what you're giving them.
Yes, if you look at
so the problem that you are trying to solve, you yourself are complicit of that problem.
Yes, if you look at the youth employment, it's not full-time employment. When you pick someone to go and sweep the street as a Zoom Lion street sweeper, the person goes there in the morning, 2 hours, the person is done for the day.
So
then we pay that person 180 cedis a month. When we came as an agency, we met, they were paid 80 cedis. Yes, we had to change it and make it 180 cedis. And I'm sure that there will be improvement as time goes on, depending on what we get.
How long does the community police guys work?
They work for 2 years.
2 years?
Yes, 2
and
years.
Then what happens to them?
Pardon me?
And then what happens to them?
Yes, so that was what we checked. Over the years, we have over 600,000 people passing through youth employment from 2006 up to today. Some of them have moved on, but they're not even up to 30%. So we felt that we are, rechannel, or we are just circling unemployment. Because the person after 2 years will leave.
And go where? That's my question.
Exactly. So some move on to be police officers, but I just manage school of the entire, those who will exit. So that is why we started the job center. We want to train them on artisanry, because there is an artisan directory where we give them full-time employment. We train him as an artisan, then we leave the person with some packaging so that the person will go and live on his own. So
if I give you 350 cedis, can you survive on it for 1 month?
That will be difficult, but you see,
so why are you expecting people to survive on that?
Yes, we're targeting someone who has completed senior high school who will want to move on with his life. I told you that the youth employment in itself started from a report by Francis Poku in 2006, when he saw that unemployment among those SS leavers and people who are not employed at all, who have not even been to school at all, is becoming a national security threat. So let's have something to engage them, to engage them, even if it is 1 year or 2 years. After 2 years, the person will move on, so that someone will also join.
I hear you. Council, this is the state of our nation regarding youth unemployment. The government says, I want to start a job and career fair, teach them how to put CVs together, guide them, connect them with private sector employers so that we can at least reduce the huge numbers of young people who are unemployed. But this is the picture we have. What do you say?
I think, Johnny, it has been stated on this platform before that we need to cut the slogans, the rhetoric, when it comes to the unemployment issue. Like he rightly referenced Francis Poku, who was then the National Security Coordinator. The issue of unemployment has become a national security threat. So if you recall, about a week ago, H.E. John Dramani Mahama indicated that we need to have a national conversation on this issue of youth unemployment. I've watched an amateur video of able young Ghanaians trying to enter the conference center yesterday.
For the conference?
The job fair.
The job fair.
Now, that again brings the real issue of what exactly is our priority as a people. Johnny, if today you and I agree that youth unemployment is a national security threat, okay, then it becomes difficult for myself and Awa to justify why we want to use $200 million to construct a national cathedral. Look, you see, these things I am very passionate about this. Because you see, I have always made the point that if you give someone a job, it's an entire community. It's not even the individual. It's an entire community. So as a country, what exactly is our priority? If we agree that this thing is a national security threat, then we have $200 million. We would break down existing buildings that we want to build a national cathedral. And the regrettable thing is that you have persons over 60 years who have benefited from Ghana championing this. You see, it is not like a populist thing. But you see, if you should sample about 10 young men today ranking employment and building a cathedral, I can tell you that you do 10 over 10.
Really?
Yes. Because you see, Johnny, like you asked my brother here, even those who are doing it, 350, what exactly can he do with
the highest is 700 because we have youth in elite sports.
Okay.
No, those are, this even a more recently added model.
Right.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is that the conversation relative to priority is about what the bread and butter issue. So I think that as a people, we need to redefine our priority as a people. Let's have a broader national conversation on the issue of unemployment. Because yesterday, the video I watched, I was scared. Look, this is not like they are going to give you job. Just the opportunity to be related to a job center.
But that's the first step.
Exactly, no, but the
guide you how to write your CV.
So that is what I'm saying.
Because sometimes you may be misfiring.
No, so I am saying that even that could get that number. Then you can imagine. Recently, when a decision was taken to do the military recruitment,
right?
Go to Airwork. The numbers there, scary. These are the matters. I'm a young man. If we sit here and we color the conversation on unemployment, we are doing ourselves. And that is why I think that as a people, on this issue of unemployment, it is not the question of political rhetoric.
But that's what you both have been doing.
No, I am saying that we need to have a different conversation.
Okay.
Look, recently, I listened to the agric minister. Then he said, Planting for Food and Jobs had created 2 million jobs. You see, you churn out these kind of figures into the public domain. And then you ask, how were these jobs created? He said, we gave people free fertilizer. The person already had his farm. You have supported the person with inputs. Then suddenly you are taking those employment numbers. So these are the things that we are churning out. Look, recently I look at the mid-year budget statement. If you read one of the appendices, it provides clearly the number of persons within the public sector. The number given is 839,000 because for every public sector worker, your salary comes from the consolidated fund.
That's right.
So you need to trace. And of this, government had projected 30 billion. Now look at something. In the 2021 budget statement, the overall government revenue to be generated was projected to be 72 billion Ghana cedis. However, we have projected to spend 113 billion. Of this amount, we are going to borrow 42 billion simply because the revenue cannot match the expenditure. Now you ask a simple question.
Because our wage bill is high.
No, so I am coming there. Johnny, if you pick the 2021 budget statement, Johnny, you will notice that interest payment alone and amortization is 35 billion.
Of loans that have lingered on. Legacy.
I am not even disputing. Why? The Akosombo Dam was done with a loan. But the point I'm making is that if as a people, we create a revenue pool of 72 billion, and out of the 72, we are using 35 billion just for interest payment, then the managers of the economy need to sit up. And that is where we are. And you see, this conversation, we need to interrogate the critical issues. It's not the usual rhetoric. It's not the usual propaganda. People want to survive.
But you see, then
Johnny,
private sector comes in.
Someone recently joked that today, if you should bring a ship, at Tema Port, and you say, oh, you want people slaves. People will voluntarily join just to go abroad for better opportunity. That is how scary.
What I heard was that the ship will sink here because the numbers will be overwhelming. but then you see, private sector also has a role to play.
It has always been the engine.
If you look at the sectors that, for example, YE is looking at, they're looking at economy, they're looking at banking and finance, they're looking at academia, pharmaceutical, security, food, engineering, information and communication technology, waste management.
Johnny, now, recently
they mounted boots there.
No, you see, Johnny, let me.
So it's a starting point.
When you go there, you go into the booth, you see Casapreco there, recruiting. You see GIZ recruiting. You see bigger companies, Glyco and others. Okay. They are recruited over there. So it is.
So yesterday people were recruited?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because what we said to do is that let's just push them there. Live interviews will be held there because they declared 3,000 vacancies that will be filled.
Okay.
Yesterday and today.
Okay.
So, but because of the overwhelming numbers, they couldn't conduct the interviews there. So they
How many numbers did you have yesterday?
It was overwhelming. I can't even count. Over 2,000 people turned up.
But 3,000 jobs are up for grabs?
Yes, they are up for grabs. That between yesterday and today, 3,000 Ghanaian youth will get employment from the private sector. Okay. But you see, when you talk about the cathedral,
let's you come. I'll give you the rebuttal. Yes, okay. I want to understand. I wanted him to also answer the question of the private sector.
I'll come to you for a rebuttal. Let me give you a critical example. And in this one, they use the financial sector, and that is why some of us still maintain that the approach to the banking sector cleanup was not well thought through. It was not well thought through in the sense that government in 2017 indicated that per all the reports they have come to meet, there was a crisis within the financial sector. And so the question was about approach. Mm-hmm. Then they said the problem overall was 9 billion Ghana cedis. That was the conversation. Now you have a 9 billion Ghana cedi problem. Then now you now come and tell us that having collapsed banks, people having lost jobs, the bill on the cleanup to solve a 9 billion problem is 21 billion.
The problem they say you oversaw.
The issue is not about a problem that was whatever it is. What is critical for me is that today, all the banking sector cleanup is dependent on the Bank Specialized Deposit Taking Institutions Act. When was that legislation passed? September 2016. You need to have a legal framework before you can proceed to deal with the problem. That framework is what this government inherited. But I'm talking about the approach.
Okay.
You could have diluted the shareholding structures of these companies if the problem was management, and then keep these companies afloat. When Obama took over in 2009 as the US president, you remember the famous AIG, American Insurance. They had been badly affected by the financial, the financial crisis, that they were at the verge of collapse. Ford, General Motors, in Detroit and others, were at the verge of bankruptcy. The US government had the opportunity to say, look, by reason of poor management of this, let's collapse, let's kill these companies. But what they did is they intervened to keep jobs.
But you see, Eduji, there were elements of fraud as
well.
No,
you are not getting the point. The element of fraud, if established, is a prosecutable offense. You don't kill. It's like saying that you are killing the company, the baby together with the mother. That's not what when Solomon had the opportunity with the two women, one suggested that, let's divide the child. The other one said, no, let's keep the child.
So you keep the child and deal with the mother.
Okay.
If the directors.
Let's take up Awal's view on this.
I mean, that is where we are.
He says that you spent more money to solve a problem that, or if you like, to destroy what could have been fixed.
Yes. Okay, before I come to that, he says National Cathedral.
Right, the 200 million.
Yes, this is something that the NDC has been engaging in. I think it's, this man, Adolf Hitler, he has somebody he called the propaganda secretary.
Joseph Goebbels.
Yes, Goebbels. Okay. He says, when you keep on repeating lies, it becomes truth.
Okay.
And that is what the NDC has been doing. This is not funded by the state. The National Cathedral is not funded by the state money.
Where are you funding it from?
But you know.
No,
this is a conversation that we've been having it. We are saying that individuals should contribute voluntarily for us to do it. Companies should contribute. The chief imam has given 50,000 cedis. A lot of people are paying into it. Some are paying 100 cedis and so on. So it is not funded by the state. Again, when you tell me,
yes. Before the announcement was made that the short code was made available for 100 cedis or more to be paid, and before the chief imam paid, how was the construction being done? Where was money being gotten to do the construction?
But you see,
the monies that were used to demolish the buildings that the judges used to live in.
The state is assisting, but the state is not constructing it. The state is assisting.
Allow me, please. Allow me, please.
The state is assisting us, even the land.
So the state is spending money?
No, the state is not spending the 200 million.
What is the state spending? Oh, Eduji, please. Okay. How much is the state spending?
I can't quantify that.
Okay, so I'm saying that if you say that what they are saying is a lie,
yes,
you must help us with the truth.
The truth is that there is a board made of clerics, and they are moving around appealing for funds to complete it. This is the absolute truth. So, and again, when you tell me
you say that, no, let's interrogate this. So you say now that, I'm asking you a simple question.
Yes.
That buildings for judges were demolished and then construction began because the announcement of the USSD code was done not so long ago.
Yes.
The chief imam's 50,000 donation was not so long ago, correct?
Yes.
Now I'm saying that before those announcements were made for people to contribute, the monies that were used to demolish and to dig the ground and to cut the sod to import the stone from Israel to come and put in the foundation.
Yes.
Who paid those monies?
I'm still telling you that the state is assisting for us to build this national monument. Okay. But we have not, yes, it's a national monument. So you are even saying that how many people will say 9 out of 10 people will say that this one is very critical than that one. When we were building Terminal 3, how much did we spend on it? We spent a lot, but we had nagging unemployment issues. So it is not really about saying because we are
connection between Terminal 3.
Yes, because Terminal 3, the amount we spent there, even if we hadn't spent that amount, we still have passengers passing through the airport.
But Terminal 3 is a profit-making venture.
Exactly.
Is the cathedral a profit? Oh, council, please.
Maybe we'll be accepting the donation.
You don't know how this cathedral will help in even income generation?
How?
That people will use the halls and so on and pay. People will come and have a very bigger place to even do their programs and still pay for it.
Understand we're going to have a biblical restaurant.
Again, he says we have used.
He
said we have used 9 billion to create 20 billion to solve this problem. I have always maintained that no bank was collapsed.
Okay.
There was only a merger of banks. And again, he said Obama supported these banks and so on. How much did Unibank receive? Unibank received to the tune of 800 million. As something to resuscitate it. And they diverted the money to open another bank somewhere. And this is something that was done from 2015. We came and met a crisis. We merged the banks together and formed Consolidated Bank of Ghana. Today, what is the value of Consolidated Bank of Ghana? It's more than the 20 billion that you're talking about. So is that a loss to the state? The value of that bank which belongs to the state. Those who work in those banks have job security because this is a state bank. We have put everything together and have spent an amount of money to create a bank, which is a state bank.
When you collapse 9 banks, you say you have not collapsed.
We did not collapse 9 banks because we were looking at 4.6 million people whose livelihood are in these banks. How many people bank in this country? We don't even have up to 30% of the people banking in this country putting their money in the banks. And you have 4.6 million of your population in these banks. You allow it to be like DKM and come back to say that we were trying to help them.
But you promised that you were going to give everybody a bank account by 2019 or so, correct? Vice President Bawumia, or you're forgetting?
That's true.
So why are you now going back to how many people do not have accounts and all of that?
No, but you see, I'm only building a point that in this country, if you look at the number of people who save their monies in the bank, they are not even up to 30%. And you have 4.6 million out of that, after the population of this country, having their monies in a bank. You think that we should still wait and be pumping money in the bank so that shareholders will be comfortable, whilst the Ghanaian risk losing his money?
Are you directing your mind again to, for example, if you had 9 banks and the number of people they were employing and the connected dependence on those people to the numbers that CBG is employing now, and how those people
CBG is the second largest bank in this country with a lot of branches than any other bank.
You are not listening to my question.
No, I'm saying that if you tell me that...
Allow me to ask my question, please. I'm saying that you had 9 banks. Let's say they were employing 100 people. You have now CBG, which is a measure of all the banks, because you say banks were not collapsed. Are you also pointing your mind towards the number of people who used to work in the banks who now do not have bank jobs, who are at home because CBG came?
My brother, I will choose between the pure water seller who sells and save for her money to get missing, for her to lose her entire livelihood, than someone lose a job.
Really?
Yes, because someone who has worked in the... look at DKM. When it happened, a lot of people died just because their entire livelihood has gone. So I'm saying that if you check, one of the second largest employer in the banking sector is CBG, because it has the second largest in terms of branches. And these people have even job security than when they were in the private banks. Because this is a state bank.
Really?
Yes.
Look at Indu,
this is a state bank.
The number of GM Bank branches across the length of this country. Now you are telling me that when you collapse, you merge. You merge with what? Do you know the problem?
The banks.
You see, this whole
there was a merger.
I just told you.
And
that you can keep those banks working.
We cannot do that so that at the risk of 4.6 million Ghanaians' livelihood.
I just
we can do that.
This platform that what you do is that you don't kill the baby. You keep the baby alive.
We kept
and
the
give
baby.
It to another woman.
And those
to look after that
there
baby.
Are people in court today for what they had done.
You change the shareholding in the US.
But we have
they didn't destroy General Motors.
That is what we have done. We have brought the shareholding to the state. The shareholding has been brought to the state. The shareholding of that bank belongs to you and I.
So, but you have collapsed it.
What is collapsed? We merged them. After merging them, we brought the thing to the state. And today, it is one of the largest, is the second largest bank in the country.
I am merging with Cookie. I have a point of interest.
Right.
When I come, I'll ask you.
To a few messages, and I'll have to say that we do appreciate you sending in your messages, but too many of them today, so we may not be able to exhaust all of them. So I'm apologizing in advance before I even start reading. These politicians and cassocks that describe people who criticize this corrupt, incompetent, violent, and failed government as witches and wizards need very urgent deliverance. They are a disgrace. Asanko from Santa Maria sent in that one. Now, Correct Score says, when Anado said, at all cost, all die be die, and now 8 people have been shot dead in the December elections, where were they? They did not say anything. Hypocrites, please keep quiet. We don't want to hear them. Mahama will not retract today or tomorrow. 2024 is a do or die affair. Boshaba Misty says the MPP government is far better than the NDC in terms of national development. So Ghanaians should focus on the MPP and forget about the NDC. And good morning to you. Okay, so I'll skip this one and go to this one. Long live the lawyer Eduji Tamaklo for always exposing this corrupt and incompetent government. Ghanaians should rise up and vote against this corrupt MPP government. Osman Bukuri Song in Tamale sent in that one. Good morning, beautiful people of TV3. Please try and read my WhatsApp small. I'm reading it now. I have a lot of videos I want to share with you. Please send your videos and all. We will share them right here on this platform. AU Farouk says, good morning to you all. I'm a polling station agent and I am strongly in support of the former president's call for us to be vigilant at the polling stations, do or die. We, the youth in Ghana, are ready to protect our beloved country from collapsing. Okay, I've read this one already for lawyer Edujita Maklo. AU Farouk also says, okay, so I've read the polling agent already. This one says, I'm surprised with the daily talking of our prisoners because we don't cherish them as part of society. Let's not forget that our future leaders in various basic schools are also fed with 1 Ghana cedi in the name of school feeding. Our leaders are very selfish. Prince Henry from Koforidua sent in that one. And the economic hardships under the leadership of the super incompetent, corrupt, clueless, and insensitive Nanado Baumia-led government is unbearable. Ghana is in a reverse gear, and in fact, the only thing that is working in Ghana now is day and night, and the center cannot even hold. If it hadn't been the do-or-die spirits, Right Honorable Alban Gbagbin wouldn't have been the Speaker of Parliament, and Mystic Wonder sent in that one. Now, those who have wrongfully taking Dr. Dufour's bank from him are taking refuge in a supposed peace talk. Hypocrisy at the highest level. Those who interpreted all die be died to become a melodious political catchphrase and a danceable music are condemning the do or die affair phrase of the humble Mahama today. Chris sent in that one. And this one says, good morning, Johnny. It's like the media men endorse criminality. To be honest, do or die is the responsibility of every rational Ghanaian. Mustafa from Lower Manya Krobo says, this government came within 4 years to render more than 1.2 million people unemployed by collapsing banks, financial institutions, media houses, small-scale mining, education, printing, and stationery companies by changing curriculum and also many more sectors. And now they are here advertising for less than thousands of vacancies for people to come and queue for jobs. They are a joke. I can go on and on and on. Yeah. I'm sorry I cannot read all of them, but please keep your messages coming in.
Let's wrap up on this one. CBG, you say, is the second largest bank in Ghana.
Yes.
Do you know what their asset portfolio is? And for example, how many people CBG is now employing compared to the 9 banks that were there? Because that's, for me, feeds into your job as a youth employment agency spokesperson.
I do not know their asset portfolio.
Okay.
I do not also know the numbers involved. But I can tell you that it's the biggest because of you cannot get the entire numbers being absorbed. Because you remember, when they came in, they had to do some retrenchment because they were not able to use even all the branches. You remember
that jobs were lost.
Yes, some jobs were lost. That is a fact. I'm not saying that there were no jobs lost, but I'm saying that the shareholding has come to the state. This is the second largest bank, and again, the employers there, those who are fortunate to even be employed there, have job security because it's just like working in GCB, because it's a state bank. Again, we have at least been able to salvage 4.6 million Ghanaians who have hitherto lost everything that they had, because we know that when DKM came, a lot of people lost their entire livelihood. And we will not sit down for that to happen because we want to protect somebody's job. That cannot be.
Can you tell me, for those whose monies are still stuck with the banks and now are told to hold on because they will be paid in bits? Can you, for example...
97% of them have been paid.
Can you...
The 3% are large banks. And even that decision has been taken. Initially, they said they will pay some and do bonds and so on. But now a decision has been taken. Everything will be paid.
You see, the people you say misapplied staff and all of that, who were shareholders in those banks, why haven't you tried them?
They are in court.
Over what period?
But you see, do we determine what the judge will do?
But you made a strong case that
you see, what we can only do is that to start the prosecution. It's up to the judge to say that they are guilty or otherwise.
Okay. Johnny. Counsel, wrap up for me.
Yes, 30 seconds. Let me state.
Decker says that you had a template for fighting the problem or solving the problem, that you were going to invest money into the banks to save them. It turned out that the people you give the monies to use the money sometimes to set up other banks or do other things.
Can I say
so
something?
Do you expect the MPP to use the same template?
So how in God's name than setting up a bank, granted, for the sake of argument, that these monies were used to set up other banks in and of itself a criminal activity? If you are setting up another bank,
been giving money to
our time is up.
If you are building another bank, how in itself bad? I am saying that people calm down. People use vindictiveness to destroy legitimate businesses built by Ghanaians in the name of banking sector cleanup. Because ultimately, you ended up using taxpayers' money again. We ended up using, and now
to have a bigger
the
assets.
problem you claim was 9 billion. You are giving us a bill of 21 billion.
And the bank is bigger than the 21 billion.
As what you have used in solving that problem. It does not make sense. So if you have 21 billion, you could have kept those banks
than the 21 billion.
and change the shareholding.
I hear you.
So it's a win-win for
keep
this
the
country.
job.
I hear you.
Because the 20 billion, the bank is
the PRO of the Youth Employment Agency.
The government provided the seed money for the cathedral.
Okay. Well, Awa Mohammed is
20
the
million.
PRO of the Youth Employment Agency, and also Godwin Eduji Tamaklo is a member of the NDC's Legal and Communications team. Well, Fusaini from Fadama says, good morning, Johnny. Ask Awal to tell us who is paying for the land on which the cathedral was built, who is compensating the state on the value of the buildings that were demolished, etc. Anytime I hear people say the state is not spending on the cathedral, I develop headache. Again, is Awal saying that the Consolidated Bank has grown to employ more people than the 9 banks which would have employed? Sometimes listening to some young people feels like a punishment. And Deka says the NDC forgets that their way of solving the financial sector crisis was tried by them. They injected money into the banks, and we all saw what happened to the monies. The shareholders ended up sharing the government assistance that came to them. Why are they still saying we should be doing the same thing? My simple response is jail the people if you think they did wrong.